Welcome back, all you Regs and all you Shinies, to the 1313 podcast. This is the podcast. I'm Jackson.
Welcome, everybody, to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Tommy.
I'm Jackson. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back, all you Regs, and to all you Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we begin, make sure that you are following us on all of our social medias linked down below. That's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. And while you're down there, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the 1313 podcast. Or one of you just make 7 accounts so we can hit that 800 subscribers goal. We're getting really, really close. Boys, how's everybody doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Life is good.
Life is good. Can't
Living the
complain.
dream.
It's my Friday. My week is done. I got client work to do tomorrow for the esports team.
Ooh, that'll be
So
fun.
I'm doing a photo shoot for them.
Oh, yeah, because tomorrow's St. Patty's Day.
And how much are they paying you?
I'm not getting paid yet, but hopefully eventually.
You should do the work and then withhold the pictures from them and tell them that they have to pay you. Or you should watermark them, like have a huge watermark and
I'll
say
just
if
put
they want.
1313 podcast all over the pictures.
And if they want the regular versions, they have to pay.
Y'all doing anything tomorrow for St. Patty's Day?
I'm
Yep.
getting a shamrock shake.
I'm going to get a
Yep,
shamrock shake.
same.
My mom makes Reubens every year.
Ooh.
They're very good.
Jacob and I are going to go see Scream 6 tomorrow.
I'm excited.
Ooh,
Very, very cool. We saw the 5th and it was really, really nice.
Apparently, Ice Nine Kills makes a cameo in the new
No
Scream
way.
movie.
No
I don't
way.
think Spencer's in there. I was told that there's a scene and there's a poster for the Silver Scream 2 Welcome to Horrorwood on the wall.
That's dope.
Huh.
And he also he's been invited to the premiere of it, but also Demi Lovato did a song that's in the Scream movie, and Spencer of Ice Nine Kills is in the music video of that. So
Cool.
yeah,
Very nice.
he's very involved with the Scream 6. I'm super excited. I hope Jenna Ortega dies.
Wow. You
Wow.
don't like her?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny.
Nice.
Okay.
So also, guys, real quick, if you want to check out our Mandalorian episode from this week, we talked about the Mandalorian right up here. You can check that out. That came out yesterday. Also, we've been getting a lot better following on Spotify lately.
Mhm.
We actually
I
have
was seeing
117 Spotify followers as of right now. And we average about 50 people per episode now, as opposed to the 22 that it was up until very recently when Spotify actually updated Anchor, and now it's no longer called Anchor. It's just called Spotify for Podcasters.
Yeah, I was looking that up recently too because I finally checked like that system after a while, and I was also like looking at like the countries that listen to us. We have like a really good listening in a lot of other countries
Our
besides
number
Singapore.
2 is Singapore. Yeah.
2 in Singapore. People in Taiwan.
It's now
probably
it's
shout out to
Australia,
Gary.
actually. It's Australia now.
Australia's the number 2 now.
Yeah, they're the number 2
Whoa.
spot.
G'day, Aussies.
And then we also have a staggering almost 10% female audience on our
It
on
was
our
higher
audio
when we
only.
started.
We have virtually no female
We have-
audience on YouTube.
We have like
so
a 2.8.
We need to
4.
cater to the female audience. We need to cater to the female audience.
Jackson, don't objectify yourself like that.
Sorry.
Absolutely
I won't
not.
do that again, boss.
No,
My bad.
No.
We'll just think of we should do a 1313 shirtless calendar.
If you want to do that, if you want to check out us shirtless, just go check out our Halloween live stream.
I could definitely make us a sexy calendar.
I
That is
don't need
something
that in my
I
life.
could do.
I don't need that in my life.
Please leave a comment if
not-
you would buy.
No, because
if you would-
I
if you would
worry.
First comment's gonna
What
be
are you gonna
hybrid.
worry about?
I worry about what
I'm
people like
calling it.
hybrid toy reviews are gonna do with said calendar.
It
once
doesn't
it
matter.
comes
We
out.
got his
The
money.
calendar is going to be like
Is there a
concrete
calendar
slab by the end
option
of the year.
on our shop?
I don't know, but
We should check it out.
It's paper. There's got to be a manufacturer on like AliExpress that could do it.
Jackson, did you just say we have an online shop?
I did in fact say that.
On what website?
Oh.
Teespring.
Teespring.
Formerly known as Teespring. It's just Spring now. If you look up
Oh, wait, really?
1313
Damn.
podcast .shop/spring or whatever the fuck, it's in our description. It's in the link tree. So
I forgot to even add this to announcements as well. Do you guys want to talk about the local thing going on near us? I can pull
Yeah,
up
we
the
probably
date
should
for
do that.
too.
Yeah, we're
Because
gonna be at a con
We're
locally.
going to be at a local con.
Local con.
It's kind of a small thing,
Local
so
con.
it's nothing like Erie Comic-Con. So don't make a trip to drive 12 hours if you don't have to.
But if you're
Yeah.
within the area, come say hi.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, we're gonna be at a booth.
This is more
Yes.
of like a local thing for us to get our feelers out. But if you do want to meet us, one, come to ErieCon, which
Erie
is
LibCon.
No.
He's
For
just
the-
talking
Erie
about the con in
Comic-Con.
general in the
Erie
summer.
Comic-Con. We're going to be doing a booth there. Hopefully all three of us will be able to be there this year.
Hopefully.
We'll be selling merch, giving away stickers, taking pictures, signing names, writing checks.
If I can get PTO, I'll be there.
So hopefully you guys can all make it to that. Also, the plans for this are almost concrete. If you also want to meet, I don't know why you would, but just me, I'm going to be going to ICC Con in Tennessee coming up.
ICCCC.
ICCCC Con. I'm fairly certain I'm going to be there
Yeah.
with a couple other creators. We're just going to be hanging out. So if you want to just say hi to me, make sure you go to ICCCCCCCCCCCCCCCC Con.
Here's the official information for the con coming up in our local area. It is called LibCon Erie
I'm
2023.
pretty sure it's LiveCon because it's in the library.
Well, yeah, but it is a local con focused at our Belasco Library here in Erie, and it is going to be from April 24th to Saturday, April 29th, and we are going to be having a table on Saturday, April 29th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's when we'll be there specifically for that slotted amount of time. So if you wanted to arrive like earlier in the week and look at other stuff as well, you certainly could. But again, like Jacob said, if you don't want to drive 12 hours to see us, please do not do that. We will have a stronger presence at the Erie Comic Con. This was just something that got thrown at us like last minute to do, and we thought it would be a lot of fun to come and say hi.
Erie Comic Con, that's going to be a blast because not only are we doing our main table, but we also have a side project that's going to be
Yes.
connected with it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get reservations for what we need. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So make sure that you guys set the date in your calendar, start making plans and arrangements to come up because we had 5 people come.
We
Last
had
year?
Hunter Schultz came, Skywalker Hendricks,
Ben
Hybrid
Taylor.
Toy Reviews, Ben Taylor,
Yep.
Lego Star Wars Outpost. Who else came up? I feel like there were more. No, that was
No,
it.
that was it.
So yeah,
We had a great time.
yeah. So
It was a lot of fun.
if you also want to come meet us at the con and also maybe get to come see the podcast set, consider coming up for the weekend. We'd appreciate it.
Yep.
Give us the more of a posse we get and the more demand we are at the con, the better our chances are of being able to go to different cons. And,
Yes, indeed. And you guys are an awesome community, and we're going to do a lot better with giving you a heads up, like how we're doing it literally now.
Yes.
It's going to be in September. I think it's the 3rd week of September. So you have plenty of time if you need to put aside money for travel fees and things like that. I know that was something in our Discord that some people were upset about last year was we only, I think, did like a month and a half in advance.
Yeah.
Like officially announcing. And so people were like, oh, I really would want to go. So now you can come this year.
Yep.
yeah,
And it's going to be bigger and better.
we are 100% going to be there, and there will also probably be another vlog of it. So that'll be fun.
That'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah. Now, I think that's it for housekeeping, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some news and rumors because there are quite a few things to talk about with some news and rumors. First, I just want to talk about this thing. Let's get it out of the way. The day after we released last week's podcast episode, Star Wars officially announced that Star Wars Celebration 2023 was going to be live streamed on YouTube.
Making
So-
us look like clowns.
Made us look stupid. I feel like they did that on purpose, especially because it's all Europeans. But no need to fear. That's actually to be streamed. And for those that didn't catch the Mando episode, I'd like to take this time and let you guys know every single panel that's going to be happening. So on day 1,
Jacob,
There's gonna be-
no,
there's
don't
gonna be-
read through it again.
and then
No.
designing Star Wars Productions.
No,
No.
don't you dare.
Ahsoka
Don't you dare
panel,
do this.
bringing
Don't
world
do
to
this.
us,
Do
the
this.
concept
Swipe,
art of
Tommy.
Ireland, Star Wars
Swipe.
High Republic Phase 2.
Get this guy out of here.
We're up here.
Put that on the tab.
So if you want to know absolutely everything that's going to be happening for this summer, actually next month, for Star Wars Celebration, you can either, and I recommend, as you check out our episode from yesterday. It's already live.
Yes.
It's in the info card. Go watch it. It was a great discussion about the new episode of The Mandalorian, but if you just want to, if you don't like us that much, you can go to StarWars.com. They have a nice panel of letting you know of all of the celebrities that are going to be there. You can know all the panels that are going to be happening in their order, and also other creators, podcasters, and people that are going to be on the HoloNet stage. So,
I think it's funny. Star Wars is really funny. They're huge 1313 fans, and they just really wanted
love our fans.
Yeah, they wanted to just pull a little oopsie daisy on us, and
they just know us.
Yeah, we're just such good friends with Star Wars, So, yeah, I have friends who are in Star Wars.
Kind of.
Actually, we kind
of. We actually do now.
We've spoken to them once, so that technically makes us friends. No.
I mean.
Yeah, so that's that. Again, that wasn't us trying to do like a hate piece or a dude trust me style thing. We had a source that we cited on the show last week. So, oh well, things happen.
They were just holding it off until they probably had a set in stone either sponsor or they had all the details fledged out. And instead of Geico being the sponsor for the stream, it's going to be Jedi Survivors sponsoring.
Oh, very cool.
The live, which is going to be nice because now instead of in between people talking, having to hear about car insurance, it's going to be plugging the video game that's Star Wars related. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Okay. More news and more rumors. There's a rumor going around right now that there's going to be a show coming out around the Mandalorian age that is going to deal with a de-aged Han Solo, Leia, and Luke Skywalker. I would really, really enjoy this. I really think I would.
I'm going to be honest with you, it's something that I didn't think I wanted to see. And then after seeing Luke in the Book of Boba Fett, it is something that I would be interested in. I really hope that they are able to work a little bit better on. I know we see a lot of the AI voice memes with some of our more recent presidents are really, really good at emulating different feelings, whether it's anger, excitement, surprise, sadness. So I really think that maybe Disney can use this technology to its advantage in doing these characters justice.
They've already done a pretty good job at it in the Book of Boba. All of the lines that you hear from Luke Skywalker are all completely AI generated, and all of the lines from Darth Vader that you hear in Kenobi are also completely generated. So
it's cool. I mean, I would love for there to be a show like that and give us more of like the story of what happens to those three. But I really just personally feel like they're not going to make it. And that is just like a very strong rumor.
I don't know. Although it's a strong rumor, I definitely could see how it would fit because there's a lot of people that absolutely adore the Heir of the Empire book series, which I'm absolutely loving right now. And if in this new season of Ahsoka, we see Thrawn, but Thrawn starting coming to power and starting to mold what is going to become the First Order and starting to take control of all the remnants and stuff, they could very well turn that into the story of what Heir of the Empire books are really easily. So I feel like they could do something like that. But honestly, just because I've been reading these books, I now have a new appreciation for their characters. Han Solo was my favorite. Like when I was younger, it was like my top list was Anakin, Solo, and Luke. So I definitely would like to see something with those characters again, especially Han Solo, because the last time we saw him,
yeah,
but
womp 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 womp. He did have a really good redeeming scene in Rise of Skywalker, though. I thought that was a really good scene.
Yeah, how he came back. It made so much sense to the story, and everybody was big-brained enough to realize what was happening. We have a really good talk about that episode. I don't know what our episode of it's called, but we revisited.
Yeah, we did do that.
We did a revisit of Rise of Skywalker. I think the thumbnail is just all the cast and
is the Rise of Skywalker the best
Star Wars movie. Yeah, go check out that episode. That was a really good conversation.
Was that just you and me?
I don't know.
It might have been you two because I don't remember. I think it was just when
Jacob and I were doing the show last summer.
Was this one? Yeah, this must have been when I was in Taiwan.
Because then our following week we read the script for
because I listened to that. I remember listening to that when I was in the gym.
You in Taiwan?
Yeah, I was in Taiwan because I put that in at the gym and I was like, Jacob and Tommy doing the show without me.
We were really proud of those 2 episodes too.
They were really good.
And then remember when we tried to record a New Hope retrospective, and it was like, or Empire Strikes Back retrospective, and it was at like 11:30 at night, and we were just like basically drunk on sleep deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a funny episode too. You should definitely go check that out. Mm-hmm. All in our main series playlist.
It's this thumbnail. There you go. Look at that one. So go find that. Watch that video. Came out 8 months ago.
That's crazy.
Dang.
That's crazy.
And then immediately after that, would Duel of Fates have been better than Rise of Skywalker? Right after we said, is the Rise of Skywalker the best Star Wars movie? Anyway, good times.
Yeah. Another rumor that we have here is that the pirate gang that we saw in the season premiere of The Mandalorian is actually going to be set up as the big bad for the Skeleton Crew show, which is going to take place in the New Space area that we also will see the Ahsoka show take place in. I am all for this, and the reason I don't want the pirate gang to be the big bad in The Mandalorian for this season is because the Empire has already been established as the big bad here. So I think for the Skeleton Crew, this would be a lot more fitting of a villain, especially because this whole new cast of characters we know nothing about. So I think having a new foe for them works a lot better than recycling the Empire for the 7,000th time.
I am excited to see more of Davy Jones. Space Davy Jones, mossy green Davy Jones. I like the design of it. I can't wait to see more of it. He kind of looks like the big red guy from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
A little bit he does.
Oh,
the green
okay.
version.
So
The green.
can't wait to see more of that.
Yeah.
We also had a post, I believe Figure Brian posted this on Instagram, that apparently the Ahsoka show is going to be slated to come out towards the end of summer
Yes.
Yeah.
rather than more towards the fall, which is going to be rather exciting because we're getting that a little sooner than anticipated. And also, for the Star Wars celebration, day 2, the first panel of the day is going to be an Ahsoka panel. That's probably when we're going to get the trailer for it.
Yep.
So if you guys are going to celebration, please make sure that you bring your phones, post them to TikTok, so us
we can
heathens-
watch 'em.
Us heathens at home can see what you guys get to see. That's different.
Didn't they
from
do
us.
that last year, though? They did the secret Ahsoka trailer last year?
Yep.
Yeah.
they're, like that still isn't an official trailer.
Nope.
Oh crap! You're right.
So
We just feel like we've seen it because we've seen so many over-the-shoulder videos from the live event.
no. So all you troopers out there, all you cell phone warriors that are taking those videos of the extended little secrets, please keep up the good work. We appreciate each and every one of you that go to celebration and do
Yes.
that for the rest of us. But
I feel like Ahsoka is going to be the next biggest show on Disney Plus next
Easily.
to Kenobi.
Easily. Yeah.
I'm going to. I'm like. We speculated about this last episode, but I doubt we're going to see a lot of Thrawn in the trailer. But I definitely think we're going to get like that over the shoulder, just kind of like the back of him saying like 2 words at the end of the trailer. And I'm going to fly into the stratosphere with excitement.
I'm at a weird point with Ahsoka because I really hope it doesn't fall flat like Obi-Wan Kenobi did for me. And I don't know, though, because I've been having this weird itch to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
I had that itch and I started rewatching it already.
Yeah,
wow.
and I mean, like, I know that, like, in the past, recently, Jacob and I have been a little bit critical of the show. That doesn't mean that I don't like it. I just, again, I thought it fell kind of flat as opposed to what it was being advertised to be.
But granted, that was given to Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow was the director.
She was in charge. Who was the writer? Was she?
I
on
don't
the
know
writing
who was.
team?
She was not on the writing team. I know that much.
Okay, let me find out. Who
I
was on
thought
the
she
writing-
did a great job directing. I need to make sure that I say that. Deborah Chow directed one of my most favorite Mandalorian episodes, Chapter 3, The Sin.
Yes.
The one where Mando goes back to save Grogu on Navarro. So that one is very near and dear to my heart. But Jacob is looking at the writing team.
Writing team has people. One of the guys that wrote the new Transformers movie that's coming out. One of the people that wrote it.
So it wasn't anyone we're familiar
No,
with.
nobody that's touched Star Wars before.
Okay.
So
that might be why I feel how I feel about it.
and then also
Maybe.
it was supposed to be a movie, and Commander Cody was supposed to be in that movie.
Yes, I did know about that.
And then-
yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was supposed. Kenobi was initially supposed to be a movie, and Commander Cody was supposed to. He was supposed to be like training stormtroopers, and he was going to defect and find Kenobi.
Where
And
did you find that at?
This came out over the summer.
Oh, I was gone.
And but at this point though, Dave Filoni stepped in and was already using him for the Bad Batch season 2. So Obi-Wan Kenobi couldn't use him for, which is why we were speculating Cody's going to die in Bad Batch, because why else would he not be able to?
Oh,
But now we know
Also,
he
why wouldn't he be
defected.
in
that
Rebels?
makes a lot
Yeah,
more sense
so-
to why y'all were saying that.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of that, and then it was supposed to be a movie, and they had to make it longer, and they added Reva. There's just a lot of, I think, publisher and production problems that kind of like went into making the story. So
You
it
mean
changed a couple times.
The suits of a corporation came in and dampened what could have been a truly fantastic project?
Probably. That's probably what happened. But then again, all the scenes with Vader and Kenobi, which is exactly what we really wanted from the show, were the best parts of the show. So we got what we wanted. We also got like a flashback to younger Anakin, which is also something that we all really wanted. So granted, for what Kenobi was, we did get what we asked for, just not as much of it as we wanted. But I definitely had somewhere that I was going with this train of thought, and I completely and utterly... Dave Filoni is in charge solely of Ahsoka.
Yeah,
he wrote
that's
and directed.
His kid.
Yes, so this is going to be... I don't think that there's a way that he's going to let this fall flat due to the fact that Ahsoka is kind of like his pedestal character. The one thing that he really created with the Clone Wars and built on and changed. And yeah, I don't think he's going to... I feel like he's going to pull out all the stops. I think he wrote his Felicity into this one.
Put his whole Felicity.
Well, I think, honestly, that even stuff like The Bad Batch, I know that when we get into this in a couple minutes here, Jackson and I definitely have some opinions on The Bad Batch as a whole that we may not have had a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Dave Filoni, honestly, I think I'm going to go as far as to say the man does not miss.
No, he hasn't
Even
missed
though
yet.
I may have felt like that before with The Bad Batch, an episode here or there may have been a miss, I'm going to go as far as to say this man does not miss. So I'm very confident in his ability with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you mentioned that the writing team was just a bunch of people that have never touched Star Wars before, I feel a lot more forgiving of Kenobi now, if that makes sense, because I had an expectation that I no longer have from the writing team.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, last piece of news, Acolyte is slated to release next year. So when next year, we don't know, but I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah.
Also,
Very
this is
nice.
kind of cool. There's a new book hitting targets right now of the High Republic called The Battle for Jeddah or The Battle of Jeddah.
Whoa.
And I picked it up and I thumbed through the pages, and it's not an actual book. It's written like a script, like for a play.
Ooh. I like books like that. Dooku Jedi Lost is written like that.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, this would be so cool if I could pull a chapter and I could remake it for a project or something.
That'd be cool.
That is a pretty good idea.
And then, guys, now we're actually going to go through every single panel
No,
for the
we
Star
will
Wars
not.
Starting
Celebration
off with
23.
Lucasfilm Studio Showcase on day one. Designing Star
No,
Wars
we're done.
with ILM.
Can we talk about how the Bad Batch went to Hawaii now?
All right, let's talk about The Bad Batch Season 2,
There goes
Episode
Hawaii. There goes
14,
Hawaii.
13.
There goes Hawaii. The island is gone. There goes Hawaii. Oh, there goes Hawaii. There's this joke video of like Hawaii getting bombed and exploding, and I was like, it's like a poorly done like early 2000s animation, probably from a documentary with the guy saying "There goes Hawaii" over top of it, and I've been waiting. I was gonna do this, but I thought it would be pretty mean. I was gonna wait for Maya to go back to Hawaii for some reason, and I was gonna be like, Jackson, something happened, and send him the video so he'd be all scared just to see. And there goes Hawaii. Oh, there goes. Anyway, so the Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. This is what Episode 13.
13.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a very fun, refreshing palate cleanser of an episode in between action. I like this.
Now,
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said you liked it more than Mando. I forgot.
okay, here's where I'm at with The Bad Batch.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit you with something. First of all, I think we should just commend The Bad Batch for cutting ties with Sid.
Yup.
Straight ghosting.
They
Sid,
finally did it.
They finally did it, and then they get their transmission, which the transmission was a little fumbled.
Because they're in hyperspace.
Or muffled. I don't know if that was intentional.
It's definitely intentional because she, at the end of her thing, she goes like, "Remember, you owe me," but it like detones and downsteps. It's like, "Remember, you owe me."
You know what I was getting vibes of with that?
What?
I was getting
Burst
vibes
transmissions.
of Phantom Menace when Governor C.O. Bibble contacts them. The death toll is catastrophic. You must contact me.
I hated
And
that
Obi-Wan
guy
goes,
so much.
It's a trick. Send no reply. I think that's the same kind of vibe. I think she was sending that transmission through to maybe give some sort of contact a locator on their ship. Seeing
that's
if
a smart
they would
idea.
call her back.
I didn't think about that.
She's leaving when your ex is leaving angry voicemails on your
When you're trying to hop on the box and she starts crying.
When it's been 8 months and she's still calling you and texting you and asking when you're going to hang out again.
Yeah.
Even though you blocked her on everything.
This episode brought back Fee, the character that we all said we hated before, and now
I kinda like
we
him.
don't.
It's so... I never thought I would say that I liked Fee's character. I thought
Yep.
that what we saw of her in the Indiana Jones episode was the last that we saw of her. And I was not expecting this.
Well, because her character has gone from more of a just like, I'm cool, and I'm great, and I explore the galaxy, and I find all these treasures, and I'm so cool. And now she has more of like a mothering, nurturing character arc over Omega, one that's kind of like, granted, that's probably why we like her in this
Now,
episode.
if you were to ask Tech, he would probably say, Fee? I think you mean mommy.
Come on, brown eyes.
There's definitely something between them.
I know, bro. I was like, Tech gets the girl.
That's why Tech's gonna die.
Another reason. They
In
also
front
made,
of Fee.
Dude,
they also
you
made a
can't.
thirst trap of him on TikTok.
Yes.
He's dead.
When
He
did
said
Star Wars get a
he
TikTok?
Like a couple weeks ago.
A month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Barely a month ago. Actually, they have these videos that they just posted of Katie Sackhoff and Pedro Pascal
I
doing
did
like
just
little
see that.
Yeah.
answering comments and stuff on videos. So
And then, so for me, I think this makes... It just goes to show, and I know we've said it before, but I think it really, really rings true now. Less so from a story perspective and more so from the season tying up loose ends towards the end, is Jackson says it week in and week out.
Let it cook.
And
It's literally just that.
it's never rung more true. I mean, I know we were kind of disenfranchised by that Fee episode before, but now I realize that was to introduce us to her character, and now we get the chance to build on her character. Because if they just showed up with Fee in this episode, and they didn't have that other episode, I would think, oh, this is completely random, and a character that I almost forgot about from the beginning of the season.
all the episodes of the Bad Batch that we've had micro problems with this entire season have the same problems that I mentioned with the Mando episode yesterday. It's because they're doing a lot of introduction on characters in the episode. It feels like the beginning of the show, and it feels like it's slow, and we're just kind of like, there's been all this momentum, like where's the momentum going? But it's because it's introducing things so other things make sense further on, which is what we talked about with Dr. whatever the
Dr.
hell.
Pershing.
Dr. Round Glasses.
Michael from Rex and Around.
Yes. So, also, watch yesterday's video if you want to hear more about that. But then again, yeah, it's kind of the same thing that these episodes, they feel like they fall flat because they're doing it's not like a restart, but they're trying to introduce somebody else, and that introduction is always slow.
And again, this show is about the Bad Batch finding who they are without being soldiers. And this was a really great example of the Bad Batch doing just that.
Can we stay?
They realize how to find a civilian life. And I think that my hope is that eventually the Bad Batch will help Captain Rex, and this is where they will bring clone troopers to this paradise that the Empire doesn't know about.
Florida.
The clones can retire to I mean, what do you guys think about that? I think that that's eventually where some clones will go to.
Maybe.
Because
Could be.
there's no way that maybe that's where the Bad Batch ends up, during Rebels
would
and
be
during
cool.
everything else. Because you can't tell me that Rex and Gregor and Wolf are the only clones left aside from Hobo Clone. So
I mean,
maybe
yeah.
they
But
actually did get
If
retired.
they all survive and they all go to this retirement island, then why are all the other clones that are in Rebels, they're living in a refurbished ATTE on the middle of a planet in the middle of nowhere?
Because they chose to.
Because they wanted to be
think-
as away from the Empire as they could and alone from everyone.
I think they're going to get all the clones, if they do go with this route, all the clones are going to go to this retirement island. And the chieftain says this when Hunter asks, oh, aren't you afraid about the Empire? He's like, we're a really small place with limited resources. They have no reason to come here, which is quite literally almost the exact same thing Lando says about Cloud City in Episode 5. That could very well foreshadow them coming there just for either them to get routed out or for the Empire to come and try to take over. So if all the clones do go there, this is maybe where we see them finally get eradicated, and this is the clones' last battle and their last stand. What do you think of that?
Because everything else is called Plan 99, but I feel like we're going to get some conflict in the next episode with Omega being taken.
Now, I have two theories about how they're going to get away from Pabu.
Okay.
So one theory I was talking to Jackson about, remember in
the bigger wave comes.
Remember in the racing episode where the Grumgar guy says at the end not to trust Sid because she's a good person, but she's a bad business partner.
Mm-hmm.
She'll stab you in the back. I still kind of feel like in the back of my head that might be misleading us purposefully, but now I'm like thinking about him saying that and being like, whoa, what if Sid really does turn in the Bad Batch and somehow get them to come back to Ord Mantell and the Empire's there waiting for them and she traps them? Or I also have another theory that she's going to contact them because someone tracked the Empire tracked the Bad Batch to her place through one of her other contacts, and then she gets captured and she tells them like they have to go save her basically.
I think personally something's gonna happen with Sid and they're gonna get ratted out, and Omega is gonna get taken to Mount Tannis.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're all gonna have to go there to get Omega back, and in doing that, Crosshair finally joins the batch.
I feel like that is a really good possibility.
Ooh, I feel like Crosshair is going to be,
because Crosshair is finally starting to desert. He shot that lieutenant.
It's over for him.
Yeah,
he can't go back.
But Crosshair is currently being experimented upon by Dr. Hemlock and his cronies. So I wonder, are we going to see a more hardwired version of Crosshair where they have reprogrammed him and made him into some kind of amalgamation? Like, again, I keep going back to the Death Trooper thing because the Death Troopers are tall, they're slender, and they have different skill sets. They're more elite troopers.
They're not human either. They're not fully human.
Well, they're human. Yeah. They're like cyborgs. So there's in one of the books, I forget which book it is. There is they go to like basically like an AA group where people can talk about their traumas of being in the Imperial military. It takes place after episode 6. I forget which book it is, guys. If you know, comment below. But there's one point where I read an excerpt of the book on Twitter, and one of the characters is a former Death Trooper. And basically, it's a human that is almost like, think of the Spartans from Halo.
Yeah.
They're like cybernetically enhanced. So they're kind of like cyborgs in that way. So you're right. They're not totally human.
It's more machine than man now.
They start out as humans. Yeah.
So I feel like it could go with that, or they're gonna twist his mind so far that he's gonna be the leader of Scar Squadron, and that's where Plan 99 or whatever that episode title is really gonna come into effect with the antithesis of the Bad Batch comes to fight.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. I do still feel like Scorch and Delta Squad will be the ones to capture Omega.
Yeah, there's no way that Scorch isn't going to be in the rest of the season.
Because Dr. Hemlock assigned Scorch.
So I think it'd be so cool if we saw the rest of Delta Squad.
Me too.
Because I know a lot of people too are talking about what about Sev, because he dies in Republic Commando. So then, but wasn't he in the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Never mind.
I think he even has a speaking line as well in that episode. Boss does most of the talking in that scene because the episode opens up. It was like the previous Clone Wars episode was Savage Opress gets dispatched to that little temple, kills all the clones and kills the 2 Jedi. The first scene in this next episode, it's raining on Coruscant.
I remember
and
that.
Delta Squad shows up. They had gone and retrieved the bodies of the Padawan and the Jedi Master. They bring it over. Boss does most of the talking, but yeah, Sev has like a whole shot. I think he even has one line.
Okay, never mind then. But yeah, like we said before, where's the rest of Delta? What if even Delta Squad finds them on Pabu and takes Omega?
I don't think the Empire will. I mean, it's so weird. It could go
you have
either
to
way.
keep it
With that Lando foreshadow, I don't think that was a mistake. I really don't. So it's like,
there's got to be a reason that the Empire is able to track them to either to Pabu or the Bad Batch gets enticed to go back to Ord Mantell. One or the other is going to happen.
Every week now, it's like Wednesday happens, and then like by Thursday, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the entire week to go by just so I can get to Wednesday again.
I agree. what I felt like was one of the bigger themes of this episode, especially at the ending when the Bad Batch decide that they want to stay on Pabu, is that it's the continuous separation of the fact that they don't want to be soldiers, but they realize that they can do a greater good by helping people in the galaxy because they know how to, and they're doing it now out of the kindness of their hearts. You know what I mean? They're not just like, oh dang, sucks that Pabu's destroyed, goodbye. They're like, oh, like we can like stay and help now, you know, if you just let us stay a little bit.
This is also like, again, like we've been saying throughout this whole season, Omega is a child and she needs to take time to be a child.
Yes.
And to grow up and have some sort of normalcy, or she's not going to be able to be a functioning human being when she gets to adulthood.
There's a great example of that in this episode when she goes out on the boat for the first time and she's like, I've grown up around the ocean my entire life, but for some reason this feels different because she's not training, she's not being a doctor, she's enjoying herself and her life as a child, and she's out with a friend on the boat. So also, can we talk about how the boat going into the rocks did not look that serious in the show?
Nah.
I think it was made to look serious, but the water had receded so much that it ended up just falling flat.
Yeah, it was.
But it didn't
could've
break at
stayed
all.
on
I was
the boat and it
expecting it
would've
to
been
break.
fine.
I know. It just kind of went like boing. That was funny.
Yeah, but it was cool to see Omega act her age with someone her age. We saw glimpses of that with Benny and with Gunji. And again, these are other people her age that have had their childhood stripped from them. She's finally meeting someone who has not had their childhood stripped from them.
But I feel like for how much they want Omega to be a child, I can't foresee the Bad Batch ever dropping her off somewhere.
I see all the Bad Batch dying.
But I see them settling
And hers
down, maybe.
staying alive.
Tech settles down with feet.
So maybe do you think there will be a small time jump between this episode and the next? Do you think that by the next episode,
Oh, yeah.
they'll have Pabu rebuilt or partially rebuilt?
Probably partial. There's no way that they can skip so much time that Pabu's like completely rebuilt because that Joan got destroyed, dude.
There's actually probably not going to be a whole lot of time jump anyway. There's a whole lot of other things that are kind of time sensitive happening.
True.
I'm really worried about Crosshair. To be completely real with you, I'm really worried about what they're doing to him because they have him sedated and they have him in this chamber that he can't get out of. I don't know. I worry about what they're going to do to him. I think that there are some.
I wouldn't say I worry. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
What if they're cloning Crosshair and all the Death Troopers? No, that can't be it because in Rebels there's a female Death Trooper.
Wait.
There's a Rebels episode where they're fighting a Death Trooper and it's a female.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Remember
because
that?
she's on the ship, but then it's...
I don't know why I remember things like this.
No, that's completely right. But they also
Trans
don't do that...
Crosshair?
What did you just say?
I said trans crosshair. Let's be honest. There's already CT sister that's happened in a book. What's to say that if there are clones of them, one of them...
Or it's just a female clone.
It's just gotta be a woman, bro.
But
I'm just saying let's not root it out already just because of a single second of dialogue that happened in Rebels.
I mean, they did make a female clone.
they did make Omega, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more of like an augmentation thing in my opinion.
I definitely think there's going to be some form of cloning happening because the Tantus project in the Heir to the Empire series is cloning. That's what the Tantus project
and it leads me
is.
to believe like Dr. Pershing's research was about cloning organs and using multiple DNAs because that was the shortcoming of the clone troopers. They mention it all throughout the Clone Wars, and I feel like that's part of the reason that they didn't keep going with the Jango Fett clones because even though they had control over the cloning technology, Jango Fett's DNA was deteriorating, and the Kaminoans were talking about that. Throughout the Clone Wars. Remember, they were talking about we only have a little bit of his DNA left, and since he was killed, we can't keep using his DNA over and over.
Thanks, Mace Windu.
So, Mace Windu actually is the reason for the clones all dying and getting mistreated.
Is Mace Windu going to show up in this season of the Bad Batch? No.
I think Mace Windu will show up again.
I really do.
In something.
There's a lot of fan demand for it, and Samuel L. Jackson is poking the bear too. So
I saw this theory online talking about how Star Wars has an issue where characters can no longer die anymore. Do you feel like this is true?
It's always been a thing, though. From the very first movie, Obi-Wan dies, but he doesn't die. Qui-Gon dies, but he doesn't die. Yoda
Maul
dies,
but he
doesn't.
isn't dead.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know why it's a complaint.
There's less of a problem with it with Star Wars than there is with Marvel.
Right.
Marvel has a bigger problem with it now because it's like, oh, Loki, dead. Loki show. Oh, Gamora, dead. Gamora's back. With this whole multiverse thing,
I hate the multiverse.
My professor said this. He said we're going to be experiencing multiverse fatigue very, very soon and very, very easily. That's why I'm excited for, especially for Marvel, Phase 3 and Phase 4 are everything multiversal, with ending with Secret Wars, which is what ends the multiversal war. So then after that, they're going to have to put on their big boy pants and say we have to write one character, and if they die, they die. So
I think with Star Wars, that's the nice thing about the Force, is it is your cop-out. It's your workaround so that a character doesn't have to be completely dead. They become one with the Force. Mm-hmm. And then there's the world between worlds thing, which people think is a multiverse in Star Wars. It's not a multiverse.
No.
It is an ability for a person to have access to everything in the linear timeline going on all at once. Ezra alters the linear timeline by pulling Ahsoka out of her fight with Vader.
Yes.
But that does not mean that even though the timeline has been altered, that does not mean that there's a multiverse in Star Wars.
It's not like this isn't a Vsauce 3 video where now there's like a split in the timeline. So now there's a timeline going on where this happens, and in this one linear time at this point in time, Ahsoka just disappears.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yep.
So, but everything continues as such.
I think also it's very important to mention. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Because if it's going like this, and Ahsoka disappears here and reappears when it's moving, she's when it's moving.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a branch.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was explained that there is no branching off of it.
And again, like if you were under the impression that the world between worlds is a multiverse in Star
Wars,
Wars,
just a silly child
as a tool to get rid of the sequel trilogy specifically, I'm sorry, but you have been misinformed by a cringe creator
Goofy
on YouTube,
creators.
and just know that I don't blame people like when they have been misinformed. You know what I mean? I blame the people that are doing the misinformation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get it. Not everyone likes the sequels, but clearly Mando and Bad Batch are connecting dots and making things make sense.
And I like that. I like that a lot.
The whole Dr. Pershing thing is making it make sense.
I would, if we got that show with de-aged Luke and Han and Leia, I would love to see a young Ben Solo.
Do you think that would deal with the Yuuzhan Vong? Because I keep wondering about because the Yuuzhan Vong were supposed to show up in the Clone Wars. Did you know that?
Who the Yuuzhan Vong?
The Yuuzhan Vong. Okay, they're
detail.
I just want to point out that Tommy actually knows something about Legends for once.
Not really. You just said Mara Jade was literally the Emperor's hand.
Nah, but I do know.
So.
But I do know about the Yuuzhan Vong, and the only reason I cared to learn about them was because they were in an unfinished episode of the Clone Wars.
Oh.
Okay, so the Yuuzhan Vong it might show up in the books that you're reading right now. I don't know if it's that set of books or not, but the Yuuzhan Vong are actually not from the Star Wars galaxy. They're from a different galaxy entirely, and they like conquer other galaxies. So that's why it's kind of like weird to me already. Then they show up and they have some kind of ability.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Either the Force doesn't affect them, or they have ways to get around the Force. Don't quote me on that part, but I do know that they're not from the Star Wars galaxy.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
Well, that is Mara Jade, so...
I don't really like the idea of entertaining multiple galaxies with how big Star Wars is.
But it's in space.
Already. Well, I get it's in space.
We're already going to get bits and pieces of that. Thrawn is canon. He's not from the Star Wars galaxy.
He's from new space.
He's from outside of it.
Okay, never mind.
Because there's an entirely new, different galaxy, and the border between the galaxy that is Star Wars and theirs is the Outer Rim and Wild Space. That's that little, or as they call it, the chaos. There are multiple galaxies. So the Yuuzhan Vong could definitely be from like the galaxy where the Chiss reign supreme.
Okay, I mean,
but
that
it
makes
also
more
it
sense.
sounds like I can't remember his name. There's definitely something in the Thrawn books that sounds like it could be like the Yuuzhan Vong just like renamed, like the newer ones.
The Grisks.
General, not the
Not even gonna
Grisks.
say that.
Well, maybe.
Remember when Jackson got him the
Gershiks
the
is-
gear shirks?
General Yiv. I believe
Yeah,
it's General
Yiv.
Yiv.
From
Yiv,
the Beyond.
Yeah, well, Yiv, the Beyond is that.
Oh, never mind.
So, I
never
feel like
finished
I
that.
feel like the Yusong Mong could be like General Yiv's type beat with the Grisks, because the Grisks aren't really in the main Star Wars galaxy, but they're kind of like this conquering people, and some of them have like the ability to use telepathy for manipulation. So maybe
I could see it.
the reason why things like Heir to the Empire and stuff like that aren't canon, and the reasons why it's pushed away from canon is because George Lucas didn't like the ability of the Islamir being separated from the Force. He didn't like this idea that there is these all beings are connected to the Force except for these exceptions. Like, oh, they're living and they're here, but they're not part of this. It kind of breaks the idea of it binds everything together if there's something living outside of that circle.
Fair.
And not to mention too, like, think about how many timelines have been made out of Legends, or the EU as it was, used to be called. And it just wouldn't be fair to pick one over the others, because there are a lot of cool post episode 6 timelines that happen. I know the most popular one is the Heir to the Empire stuff, and they're choosing to pull a lot from that for the canon timeline.
It sounds like lots of the EU books are spanned off of the Heir to the Empire. It feels like I don't know if Heir to the Empire was like the first books to come after.
It was one of the first ones.
Because there's like all these artworks and stuff of like Luke and Mara Jade, and it's like, well, Mara Jade was introduced in these books, so it's like I feel like everything's kind of spanning off of like this series.
For me, and again, it ties into the Bad Batch though, because they're taking it, and I think they're making it more cohesive, as opposed to them being, oh, there's just all these new concepts that show up after episode 6. That's something that a lot of people don't like about the sequel trilogy. So they're going back in time, placing these things into the timeline retrospectively, so that when you watch it chronologically, it all makes sense.
Bro, do you see it?
What are you talking about?
What did you drop?
His ring despawned. It fell to the Shadow Realm.
It actually like despawned. We'll get it after the show.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it was just great to see the Bad Batch kind of chill out for once, and like actually chill out, not like have a moment at the end of a conflict where they get to chill out. It was like actually watching them realize they don't have to always be on high alert. Yeah, they were on vacation. They were in Nyamos from Andor.
On the shores of Waikiki.
Yeah. Overall, I give this episode of the Bad Batch a solid 7 out of 10. It wasn't super exciting, but it was a really good episode, and it was a good way for us to cool down and actually learn more about our characters.
I also like the fact that there's more tropics planets, because so far all we got is Scarif.
And Space Miami from Andor.
And not to mention them poor fish.
Well, Space Miami is more just kind of like above the tropics. It's like a humid climate, but it's not like crystal blue waters. So it's like, yeah, I'm liking this. You say rip the blue fish?
I said rip the poor fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor fish in Mando. Or in Bad Batch.
But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the podcast. Please, if you haven't already, make sure that you are following us on all of our social medias linked below. Merch linked below. Subscribe buttons down below. Make sure that you are in our Patreon for your chance to win this.
Scorch! My bad, I didn't know if you wanted me to say it or
I
not.
was waiting for it. But if you aren't in our Patreon already, please make sure that you're in that Gungan Boss tiers for your chance to win that Scorch figure at the beginning of next month.
That's all.
And that's about it. See you guys next
Bye,
month.
everyone!
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Hum da da hum da da hum dum dum da. Hum da da hum da da dum dum da dum da ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba dum ba ba dum ba dum ba do ba dum ba do ba dum dum hum da dum hum da da hum dum 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 hum dum 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 da dum hum da dum hum dum da dum. Hey, da dum da dum dum. Hum da dum da dum da dum dum. Da 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 ba da dum dum da ba ba da ba da.